All right, I claim to be good at picking football, but I've been awful this year. I'm 11-19. Maybe having some accountability will get me on the right track on this episode of the Scho-Zone. All right, everybody, welcome to the Scho-Zone. It's your host, Ryan Schofield, coming at you from the Degen Sen. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share, listen, or whatever the fucking hell, all that stuff, douchebag podcasts like myself, podcast hosts like myself say. I'm going to keep this one brief, just a little Saturday morning action here. I posted a video earlier in the year talking about how I was good at picking in the NFL. Last year, I was 55 and change percent or so, finishing a contest on DraftKings. This year, it's been god-awful. It's a cumulative effect on this. Don't really care to, I haven't been watching the NFL like I used to. Part of, because I'm busy during the day. Also because I just don't find the games that likable or anything. And there's part of it that, some teams just didn't stumbled out of the gates, and it's just been, a little bit of a rough road. I figured that if I start putting myself out there and posting these picks again, though, that maybe I will do a little bit better because, everyone loves to hate on people. I put up a video about, or a shorts about fantasy football sucking. And somebody told me that, oh yeah, tell me you're miserable without being miserable. I'm like, actually, I'm like the happiest I've ever been in my life, and not playing fantasy football might have something to do with that. But we get a little bit more into the season, getting a little more of an idea of what's going on here, and it's time to start making a comeback. So I'm just going to post my week 7 picks here and give you my little reasons why. I've got them scrolling along the ticker now. Why are you listening to somebody who is at 11? I do this based on, I'm in a contest on DraftKings where you pick 5 games a week. And to be honest with you, I usually have to struggle to find 5 games to pick, which used to not be as much the case. Things have just changed. Maybe the game has passed me by a little bit. A lot of the rules I used to use or things I used to do have kind of, just don't work as well anymore. Also, I kind of am getting a little too dependent on me betting on the NFL by using my teams to win by 1 to 6 points, which, I hate admitting this, but there might be some tweaking I need to do. I might need to throw certain teams out of even betting on there. Like I'm looking at you, the Carolina Panthers, maybe even the Patriots, although we'll see about this week, though, because I don't know if they're going to – anything can happen in London, and especially in a game with Doug Peterson. It's just really an overall – we're sending them the absolute worst. We're sending fucking Doug Peterson and the fucking overrated Trevor Lawrence out to Jacksonville, which is kind of their pseudo home. I would not be surprised if Jacksonville plays a little better than they did last week. They did have a short travel out to London last week because of the weather that was going on in Florida. And I'm not sure a lot of people knew that, actually, and I wish that I had actually capitalized on that. But the Patriots are awful, but at least they might have a chance of having a quarterback. So without further ado, let's go into the picks right now. Number 1, I'm going to go with the Seahawks catching 3.5 in Atlanta. And all these picks, if you're taking a team plus the points, it's almost not doing yourself a favor to put a little bit on the money line. So any underdogs on here, I would not mind putting a little bit on the money line. Now, everyone is going to probably think, oh, let's parlay. Do not parlay anything, okay? It's hard enough to pick a game, let alone every game. It's, it's fun when you do, but it's kind of like, buying cocaine and actually having a good time. Or actually, cocaine was always a good time. It's just not feeling like shit the next day. How about that one? Yeah, we'll go with that one. So I'm going with the Seahawks on there. The Falcons just don't really impress too much to me. They've been one of those teams that a lot of games could have gone the other way. I mean, again, they played awful against Philly for all but one drive. And then, because Philly just did Philly things. I would not, by the way, that's a game I do not want to touch. It is begging you to take the Eagles against the Giants this week. I just don't. I have this expression, bad things happen when you bet bad teams. And I think that the Eagles and the Giants are both bad teams. And I think that looking at what big takeaway I had last week, I know I'm really staying on point right now. A big takeaway I had last week at the end of the NFL broadcast, when I was waiting for baseball to start, they did show like the reactions of winning locker rooms. And they were going through, and then they got to the, they went through the Falcons, who they actually, Raheem Morris seems to have a good thing going on there, as I know I just picked against him. And they showed the Lions, who I think they just have the best locker room going in the game. And then they showed the Eagles. And if you just had it on mute, you would have thought that they were watching a team that lost. Nick Sirianni is a fucking clown. All right. His shtick has gone, his run dry. And I mean, basically, since he called out Chiefs fans on his way out of the tunnel, which, he does, I match well with Philly, but that's just, it's very quick to, lose faith or lose good standing in that city. And it looks like in that locker room too, his team looked like they could not wait for him to fucking shut up. And they had the body language of a team that lost, which when you beat the Browns by 4 points, maybe you kind of feel like you lost. Anyways, Seahawks, they are a well-rounded offense. Geno Smith is one of those kind of battle-tested QBs. I think he actually had his best game of his career, or like at least early on starting in his career in Atlanta. Atlanta just doesn't scare me. Not at all. I mean, they have they have a good defense. They have anybody that's going to actually give him any pressure? I don't think so. And I just think that you're going to give me 3.5 points. I don't see it being more than a 1-score game either way. So I'm going to go with Seattle plus 3.5 for the first pick. Game 2. I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers laying 2.5 to the Houston Texans. I think the Texans are the record is good. I don't think that they're as good as the record is, though. The only game I watched them real closely was when they played the Bears, which was a game that I felt like they should have won convincingly, given what the Bears are putting out there, but they didn't do shit for a very long time. CJ Stroud, I do still think he's got a tremendous arm talent, but he really seems to be hitting a bit of a sophomore slump, I guess you would want to say. And without Nico Collins, I heard some stat that like nobody on the team is averaging more than 10 yards of reception. They are kind of built on being a power run team with Joe Mixon, it seems. And I think Green Bay is a well-rounded team as far as they don't have any go-tos. And they're nothing sexy or flashy, but going into Lambeau Field is never an easy task. So give me the Packers to win that one by less than a field goal. Or, I mean, they just got to win by a field goal. I'm all over that one. This one is going to be the one I actually am going to probably bet the most. Actually, most of these are just picks for the contest. This is one I'm actually going to probably be betting a significant amount of money on. The Detroit Lions are getting 2.5 points according to the contest. Again, I'm using the spreads that are available on DraftKings for their pool contest. So not necessarily the ones that you may have access to, but I'm looking at the Packers the Lions plus 2.5. I've been waiting for the fucking shoe to drop on Cinderella. As I've said, the Vikings they're more defensive, run by their defense than they are by their offense. The Lions happen to have the best offense. And I used to believe that defense wins championships, but in this NFL, I think that you're in the benefits of having a better offense. And plus, I think the Vikings haven't really had the best of the competition. And I think the Lions really want this game, because this is a very important game as far as the division. And I believe that the Lions are doing everything they can to try and get that number 1 seed to be able to play the NFC Championship game in their hometown. I'm just going to, Sam Darnold, like I said for a long time, when I see the odds that he's getting on MVP, I will bet you anything he will not even get an MVP vote. And I think that this is going to be the game that they start to kind of show their true form. The Vikings, even when they were good before, it's always, how are they good? So if you're going to give me the Lions at plus money to win a football game at any point in time in the NFL against anybody, sign me the fuck up. And it's especially when it's Jared Goff playing in a dome and not in like an inclement weather type situation. So I'm all over that one. This next one is probably one that I don't necessarily feel the best on. It's kind of a hunch feel thing, but I'm going to take the Jets. They're laying 1.5 to the Steelers. I don't know. The Steelers changing quarterbacks is a really, really scary thing to me. I mean, because we know they were winning with Justin Fields. Could they have been playing better with Justin Fields on offense? Probably. They're really just carried by their defense and TJ Watt specifically. The Jets, it's weird. They're 2-4, and everyone loves to hate on them because everyone hates Aaron Rodgers and whatever. Just because he has a better life than you doesn't mean that you have to fucking hate him. I mean, look at the guy. Fucking, he's at the age he is. He's got the money that he does, and he still is in there fucking taking the shit kicked out of him and getting up. And it's just that maybe this is, again, the most cautionary pick that I have. Maybe the Jets, they are finding ways to lose games rather than win them, and that could be the error of my ways. But I think that with getting Devontae, getting that lift, and maybe, actually, if aside from the opening game against the 49ers, the Jets very easily could have won every game. And the Steelers, I mean, they've kind of beat up on the teams that they should beat up on. And they've lost to the teams that they probably should have lost to. Overall, I think the Jets have the better team. Again, I'm thinking that offense trumps defense in the NFL at this point in time. The last game I'm going to take is going to be the LA Chargers, I actually just caught myself. I almost had a John Sterling moment, which if you've been listening, if you listen to the baseball on the playoffs, John Sterling calling any Yankees Guardians game, it's amazing because John Sterling's like 95 years old at this point. And he just constantly calls them the Indians, then has to apologize, calling them the Guardians. And then every other inning, it happens. Even when the Indians walked it off, I just did it myself there. When Cleveland walked it off the other day, he even said Indians win. I mean, it's just that's how inclined he is. That's how I felt about the Chargers. I'm just looking at the quarterback situation there is that, Kyler Murray, yeah, he's fun, a little exciting, but he's not that good. And I get Justin Herbert, who, by the way, everyone's darling. I mean, was looked at as the best quarterback ever, based on just how he looks at one point in time. I think he's got 200-yard passing game this year, which is, I'm just going based on the coaching on this one. I think that it doesn't scare me to going on the road. I mean, the Chargers play every game on the road as far as I'm concerned. So them going in Arizona, and I think that they're coming off a bye week, if I'm not mistaken. I should probably verify that real quickly. But I just like, the Cardinals, they came out a little hot to start off the year. And I mean, they beat the Niners, which doesn't really mean the same thing it used to mean, I guess. But I'm going to, so no, the Chargers actually came off of a win against the Broncos last week, which is, a game that they pretty much led from start to finish. And, the final score of that game being a touchdown was very, very misleading. Also, got to point this one out that Sean Payton just does not really seem to have it figured out as far as how to manage the end of the game when you're down, as far as when he kicks a field goal or goes for touchdowns. But side part, maybe that's just I'm just a bitter guy, because when I'm betting 1 to 6 points, he doesn't really do any favors when he takes a field goal over a touchdown. Even though I feel like if you're all the way down the field, it's a lot easier to try and score a touchdown and then hopefully get the ball and kick a deep field goal than the other way around. But I'm sure Sean Payton knows a lot more than I do. Just my speculation on that one. So we're going to take the Chargers in that one, laying 2.5 on the road, which, again, I don't even feel like the Arizona has a strong home field advantage. And that's pretty much we're going to come out there. So I am 11-19 on the year. I am not giving up just yet. We're about a third of the way through the season, or we're through the first third actually there's 18 weeks. So I'm through the first third. I think the contest only runs until week 17. So we're going to try and get back on track there. Hopefully at least 4-1. If we can get a 5-0, then we'll actually really, really be able to have a chance at this one. But I would probably say take the Lions as the best bet. And, I'm just going to start putting these out there because I just need to hold myself accountable. If I'm going to look like an idiot, I'm going to look like an idiot. I don't like looking like an idiot. That's why I feel like I can talk about certain things. So big play on the Lions, and the rest we shall see. But hopefully and also, by the way, any game, I'm really, really hoping that the Dodgers make it to the World Series, because that would give me probably 2 more opportunities to bet against Jack Flaherty in a big game. Yes, I know we had the 7 scoreless innings against the Mets in game 1. I attribute that a lot to Cody Senga not showing up and him not having to feel that pressure. And the Mets just played like fucking idiots that game, if you want to ask me. I truly believe if Jesse Winker did not make the base running gaffe that he did, and they ended up with first and third and nobody out, that's when the pressure would have hit Jack Flaherty, and he would have folded under that pressure, because he's just not a big game guy. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Good luck to everybody on all of your picks. Avoid the parlays, avoid the dumb props. And if you have a fantasy team, I hope you lose. Take it easy. Oh, God. So I have this whole thing. Okay, yeah, now we're going to I love that I'm going to leave all of my little warts and all at the end of things. Still figuring this one out. Amateur hour is in, but, just fade my picks if you think I'm an idiot.